You ever been to the moon? No, you haven't. Shut the frickin' hell up. But neither have I. Ever since I was just a little tiny walnut, I've wondered, what is at the center of the moon? It could be anything, and frankly, I'm willing to hit the gritty tirelessly to find out what. My journey there will consist of a lot of things and a lot of words. Creatures will die, but that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. And ultimately, there will be a nuclear reactor on the moon, goddammit. As well as a very deep yet well-crafted hole leading to the core. There, we will unearth, or should I say unmoon, its secrets. Do you get it? Because like it's on the moon, so therefore unearth will be changed to be... In a brand new world, I was feeling both sexy and free. I've played Minecraft a time or two, so I naturally grabbed sticks and made tools and all that fancy jazz. I'm not exactly picky when it comes to where I live, so the underbelly of a big ol' mountain thing sounded pretty dang appealing. I shimmied my jimmies right up underneath the spot and immediately felt quite at home. Also, I made a bucket. You never know when you'll need one. Don't make the same mistake I made back in '87. Bring a bucket. Day 2, I was basically a botanist out here grabbing plants and Glad I got a 4-year degree for this. Botany shots fired! Cave time is now. What happens in the cave stays in the cave. But mostly all that happens is mining, and like the occasional murder, but not of humans, so it's fine. Anyways, I was able to make iron tools now that I had been in the hole for sufficient time. Sus guy jump scare. And finally, the crushing wheels of industrialization began to turn when I inserted a piece of coal into my new furnace generator. Electricity had been born. By me. Mother electricity. Don't call me that. One time when I was a kid, I brought my Transformer toy into a sand pit, and it got all ruined, which made me sad. But as an adult on day 3, I went into the clay pit and dug a bunch of clay. No Transformer was involved, but this little green fella did be breaking into my house, so I murdered him and then used my clay to create power cables. Side note, I've just been eating berries this entire time, and I'm about to f***ing lose it. So I started reading about how to cook like Gordo. This was all done in the pursuit of my first major goal, to make nano armor. It's the hottest fashion on the black market and also happens to basically make you immortal, just a side benefit. It's good to have for hardcore mode. My first attempt at this video ended when I got thrown off a building by a very rude tornado, so I'm trying to not relive that experience. On day 4, things got kind of crazy. Just kidding, it was actually very boring. Remember those wires I made out of bricks? Forget about them, they suck! So I made some steel from the metallurgic infuser and popped out a few universal basic cables. These bad boys can do it all. Power, connect, bake bread, you get the picture. I now had a macerator which will double all of my ores because I'm just dope like that. So finally I crafted up a beautiful electric furnace for the low price of $19.99. Just kidding, it was actually like 2 redstone and a few other things, but you know. The rest of the day I spent mining with my new copper pickaxe. When I woke on day 5, I said, damn man, there's a lot of wind in the world. It would be kind of crazy if I harnessed it for electricity. Well, good thing I'm a freak and decided to do exactly that. So I made a wind generator. These things are loud. At night, I did some more mining. Some of you may already be aware of this, but I'm here to confess that I'm a weirdo and I like boxes. The best kind of box is one that can hold stuff and other things inside of it, so I said, F it, let's make a f***ing box. This would be a special type of box though, since it would hold magical wizard power called electricity. It's actually called an energy cube, but where is the fun in that? That was named by a boring person, so I'm gonna call it the Jim Jam Shock Jock Electrical Clock Box of Maximum Power. And that sums up day 6. You're welcome. I have a tendency to get overly confident whenever I'm playing on hardcore worlds. Then I end up falling off of a cliff, or being bombed by a creeper, or attacked by rabid fish that killed me. So far in this world, I'd managed to stay mostly safe by just staying in my cave and being very careful. That's why I keep doing all this mining, man. But on day 7, I decided making iron armor would help me tank any unexpected blows. Like from a creeper falling from the f***ing sky. You know how they like to be, fall from the sky, and well, that's bad. So once again, I spent the whole night mining. Going to space requires a whole lot of ore, like just so much ore, man. On day 8, I mined the out of the earth. It was one of the most intense and rewarding experiences of my entire life. Wow, you can really make anything sound intense if you try hard enough. But who gives a rat about all that shit when later on in the day, I was doing some serious interior design. You like that? Yeah, marble on the floor and other stuff. Marble's pretty cool, man. I like marble. Okay. On day 9, I found a diamond and it made me happy. It was shiny and I liked it. Then I also dug some sand and I dug some clay and then I dug some more sand and dug some more clay as well. I needed to collect a very large amount of these materials so that I could make a smeltery and by extension start making tinker tools. For tinkering. You're watching Disney Channel. Gotcha, this isn't Disney Channel, you freaking silly goose. On day 10, my little boxes were getting all filled and stuff, and we can't be having that. Naturally, I decided to stick a bunch of silver on the outside of the wooden boxes, and suddenly they became TARDISes with the ability to hold more on the inside. Wowie. Additionally, I started getting that bread, literally. I'm out here cooking bread from from scratch. What have you done recently? So like the last guy was saying, I went ahead and made a smeltery. Filled it with lava and bada bing bada boom, we are so ready to smelt, my dude. Threw together all the classic tinker stations, and before you know it, I've got new tools made out of iron, copper, and osmium. The heavenly trio. Evidently, if you throw some diamond, redstone, and other stuff on the tools, they get better and prettier. So I did that too. Since we're now 10% through our journey, let's see where we're at. Current goal is to make nano armor to keep us from dying. Making nano armor requires a huge amount of coal and a good macerator that I can break it down with. Now that I've got pretty decent tools, I can collect that coal much easier. So the next step is to make tier 2 machines like an induction furnace. We're basically already on the moon at this rate.
Smelting all this ore so slowly is aging me faster than when I hear a TikTok kid ask what Vine is.
It's time to induct in a furnace. It's a really fast furnace, okay? It's gonna take a lot to craft, so please be impressed. Comment down below if you're impressed.
Comment down below, I dare you. I dare you to leave a comment right now. I dare you, dude. I dare you. I dare you.
Yeah, on that I had to absolutely swag out on this skeleton and assert my dominance, and as usual, I did a ton of mining. On camera. On around day 13, I started feeling comfortable with my pickaxe, which has me feeling mixed emotions. A few monsters thought they were hot shit. They weren't. As is tradition on this channel, I killed the crap out of some slimes. You guys remember the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge? Damn, people went crazy for that thing. Oh yeah, I got some obsidian, by the way, so it's almost nether time. I dig a very long tunnel. Day 14, I still have not made the induction furnace. Oh look, he's looking at the recipe again. Just kidding, he's actually going to the nether. Not even sure why, to be honest, but I have no doubt there was a reason. Oh, I wanted manilin purple. I wanted the purple pickaxe with the purple ingot. The purple one. I wanted the purple one. This one. Wait a minute. Now I'm making an alloy furnace. Okay, I have no godly idea what I'm doing. I recorded this part months ago for context. Okay, so I made an alloy smelter so I could make ImFarley ingots, so I could make an induction smelter, not the furnace, because I thought then I could make dark steel. So this has been about tools the whole time. This has all been about tools. God, that was confusing. I couldn't even make the dark steel, by the way, so this is all for nothing. Anyways, day 15, I actually did make some dark steel, but quickly realized it sucks and is very hard to repair. More relevant, however, I made a compressor. This machine will let me snoo my macerated coal down into lumps.
The dream.
And eventually become carbon fiber. Throwing some copper and some tin into the alloy smelter yields me bronze, another important part of making mixed metal ingots, aka parts that I need for the induction furnace. Here's a moment I had forgotten about, featuring me shitting my pants as an Enderman/Creeper combo took me down to 2 hearts. I need that nano armor badly. Now that I knew dark steel sucked monkey nuts, I went back to plan A and got my purple stuff, which is made out of ardite, pictured here, and cobalt, pictured here. This stone glows, so I think I'll smash it and bring it home with me. This dude looks like a jerk. Today was finally the day that it happened. I crafted my first piece of nano armor. We were well on our way to invincibility. I stuck my armor in the energy cube, ready to be powered up, and then, I'm not making anywhere near enough power for this bad boy. I still had to try it on though. Style. For how much time I'm spending mining to get this armor, it had better give me great stock market advice, or like free milkshakes, or I don't know, jobs or something. I did manage to get my pants made today. I'll probably rip them within the hour. Now I would feel bad if I just abused wind generators and made a ton of them as my only source of power, so I'm not gonna do that. But I am gonna make a few of them, just for now, because I need more power. I was still in need of a lot of macerated coal when I realized an advanced crushing factory would let me produce them at 5 times the speed of a macerator. Oh baby, they do be crushing! CBT, or I finished my little baby booties on day 17, so the only thing left was my helmet. Or visor? I don't know, man, it goes in my head. What else do you want from me? On day 18, I did some boring shit off camera so that I could eventually make both an advanced and then an elite energy cube. This thing stores way more power. So basically, we're in the money now. The big money. Really, all I had to do now was wait for power to build up with my wind generators. Then I could fully charge my armor almost instantly, like that. So it was time for our next major objective. Where would I build mission control? The base we would use to actually reach the moon at long last. It was time to start scouting for a build location. So I ran through the night, surveying the land with my eyeballs. Snow turned to grass, and eventually I found it. An open plain that was ripe with potential. This is where I'd launch rockets from. I found a big hole on day 19, and to be honest with you, I just couldn't resist my masculine desire to jump into it. You know how dudes get when we get around holes and sticks and stuff. Did a bit of mining. It was much less scary this time around since my armor makes me basically immortal unless I run out of energy. Foreshadowing is a powerful tool. This is where the base is geographically, by the way. What the hell is this thing, I asked? I don't know, I replied, and that was today. On day 20, not a singular interesting thing happened. Day 21, I had to figure out how nuclear energy works. Kind of. For whatever reason, the nano helmet, visor, whatever the f it's called, requires nuclear components to make. So essentially, it was a crap ton of crafting. Here's a time lapse. Ta-da! Full nano armor. Full nano armor. That was an anime reference. Don't worry, if you didn't get it, it's probably a good thing. Look, it's snowing. Ignore that. Oh my god, it's snowing. I went off adventuring in the hopes of finding some vines that I could make moss with. That would let my tools mend with experience and never break. Instead, I found a village with some cool stuff in it, like this thing. Wow. Happy day 22. I learned that rivers actually have a direction that they flow in. Neat. Sheep with clothes, sheep naked.
Forest.
And then some boating with the boys. The boys are squids. If it wasn't clear, I'm exploring. It's a pretty cool world, and it only has a few evil sky slime f***s. In my travels, I discovered something called a magic bean. Ooh, that piqued my interest. It did this. Holy shit. Despite my god armor, climbing up and down it at light speed was quite horrifying. I broke the top of it and received a handful of valuable stuffs and other things. Finally upgraded all of my tools to use the purple stuff. I'm not doing this again. And to end the day, I upgraded to a gold chest. I swear I'm gonna solve the storage issue once and for all pretty soon here, but not yet. Welcome to day 23, my dudes. My preparations for moving to mission control had begun. I started making some really big backpacks to hold my stuff. Backpacks require leather, which I didn't have much of, but thanks to this thing, I forgot its name. I can turn my rotten flesh into leather, and I do be having a lot of rotten flesh. From there, I started collecting marble to build with, and that was pretty much my day. Also worth noting, the days are probably gonna start speeding up for a little while here, so put on your big boy pants. They're right next to the little boy pants, but they're bigger, so put those on. Now, I woke up to a tornado on day 24. Not very chill. Yes, this mod pack has tornadoes. That's actually what I died to on my first attempt, so as you can see here, I had a bit of PTSD. A Google search or two later, and I was aware that I could create a weather deflector and any tornado that tries to threaten me in the These things are terrifying, but damn, they do look pretty cool. I encountered like 40 more of these bad boys on my journey to space, by the way, so, you know. Do you remember the induction furnace? You can slap my ass and call me pretty, I finally made it. As you can see here, this bad boy is quick. And this is only 60% speed, so, I mean, it's stone brick time, baby. It's truly a marvel I'm able to collect this much marble. It's day 25, and I am firing on all cylinders. A lot of crafting, some sand gathering, and before you know it, I've got some pretty purple lamps. You'll see them later. The process of loading all of my possessions into a few magically enhanced bags, much like me, had begun. I'm like the final boss of homelessness. Before I actually made the trek out to the site of construction for mission control, I made a hydrator. Now I had moss stone, aka the ability to give my tools mending. And mend, they did. Kinda. Some of them don't work, but most of the time it works, okay? It's nice. Also, before anyone tries to come at me, no, I didn't die and cheat or anything like that. It takes 10 XP levels to turn the moss into mending moss, so there you go, boom. By the start of day 26, I was all loaded up and ready to make the first trip out to mission control. It would be a long, hard journey, much like making this video is. I've, so far, spent 60 hours making this bad boy, and it's only day 26. So if you're enjoying it at all, please give it a like, and more importantly, comment down below why you think sardines should never be consumed by any human, ever. Sardines. Anyways, that was pretty much the whole day. Just traveling. Side note, I hate road trips. They are not fun, and people that enjoy them confuse me. The morning of day 27 consisted of the placement of the first block of mission control. There it is. The next several days would be spent building. I will try to give you a little montage of what that looked like. However, I was pretty quickly interrupted by a tornado, and I did not have my weather deflector. So, we're back to the days of hiding in holes. Contemplating life. Potato. Next day. Check it out, check it out. The foundation of mission control has mostly been laid. Now the question is, what to put on top? Klondike bars? Dirt? Now, how about a rocket base? As this would be my more permanent residence, it was important to me that it not look unbearably disgusting. I could handle mildly disgusting, but nothing crazy, you know, just like my life. My 4 main blocks were spruce logs, marble bricks, stone bricks, and spruce planks. I also used a chisel to add some extra spice to the textures. I'm a big spice boy, the spiciest boy. I tried to use as many circles as possible since balls are cool, but that definitely limited how creative I could get with the wall design since I have peanut brain. Nothing wrong with that. I like peanuts. They're pretty good. Did you know that Chick-fil-A cooks their chicken in peanut oil? It's true. It's true. For the ceiling, I went with a glass dome concept since that reminded me of space for some reason. I should also mention that the building you've been looking at here is actually going to be my kitchen/bedroom. I went back and forth on this hallway design, but don't get too attached to it because it will be changing. The sun started rising as I shifted my focus to the workshop for a bit. I had worked through the night and become so immersed that I didn't even notice the bright ball of light rising in the sky above me.
The great transfer of items from bag to box took place on day 29.
Likewise, the great return journey to the old base occurred. I was out of glass and I needed to bring my machines to the new base in order to make more. more. It's not exactly a fast trip to make, so unfortunately that was the majority of day 29, the day of our Lord. Happy 30th birthday! I mean day, just 30th day. I'm not ready to be 30 yet. Oh god, we're all dying and time is infinite. Now that I had my machines where I like them in front of me, I was able to create some more glass. While the magic of smelting took place, I continued construction of the workshop. I also made this little entrance that, in hindsight, I have always hated. Never replaced it though, so that's... yeah. Mission control is finally starting to take shape. I'll be on the moon in like no time at all, basically. Smile. Although it does not feel very safe when it has no windows. On day 31, I smelted up some more glass and, more importantly, turned that bitch purple. Oh hell yeah, we stay purple up in here. I hope you remember those pretty purple lamps I made earlier because, yeah, I freaking put them on the wall. From there, I conquered my fear of heights and built up the rest of the workshop's walls. For some reason, this mod pack also occasionally puts in like wolf sounds or something, so it sounds like this. Considering how it's a very fancy, very professional workshop, I figured giving it a super boring roof that was flatter than a nun's would be the optimal decision. But yeah, I mean, this bad boy's looking quite spacious and very usable indeed. I had officially grown tired of the stupid looking wood bridge that I had built, so I made that look all, spacey. It's gonna change like 4 more times, so just prepare your heart. Here's a cool little shot of mission control from the outside featuring 2 jack spiders on my roof. My grandfather used to say, start the day with the thing you least want to do so you can get it over with. For me, on day 32, that was the glass dome. I fucking hate domes. I don't know why I decided to make one, and no, it will not look better once it's finished. The good news, however, is that I started putting the kitchen together. Got a fridge, got a sink with a dead fish in it. I mean, this thing is ready to go. Kitchen is important not only for the RP it provides, of which there will be much, but also because it makes cooking elaborate meals way easier. As usual for this weather mod, there was some weird going on outside, but I had completed the dome, so we're chilling inside the dome. But seriously, what is going on with this thing? I mean, this looks creepy as hell.
Good morning, Night City!
It's day 33. All right, so check this out. I finished the kitchen. So now all these blocks connect and I can just click on a recipe and boom, it automatically makes it using the stuff from the fridge. It even has an oven so we can cook, unlike me, like squid and stuff. Why does the word calamari exist when it's just cooked squid? Does anyone know? I do not know, but I would like to. Now that the food problem was mostly handled, I felt more confident actually setting up the machines in a final resting place. That sounds morbid. I just mean like they're gonna be there for a while. God. For the time being, I put the wind generators here, but holy shit, that's not going to last long because they will break your eardrums. I don't have eardrums to spare. I found some squatters under the workshop that required swift and forceful eviction by knife, a fact I probably would have never known had I not been wiring up my machines through the ground. Okay, so I have to explain something. You have to have an extra load of steel to make pretty much anything beyond this point. I wanted to be all cinematic and cool, so I built this coke oven. It can create coal coke
very slowly,
which then can be used to make steel
even slower.
I wasted like at least 3 whole days trying to set all this crap up, and in the end it was way too slow. So I make a brief note of them, but I don't want to spend too much time on them because they are garbage and I do also hate them. One thing I knew for sure on day 34 is that I need a place to mine, and I hate stairs. So that's actually 2 things that I knew. So I crafted up some elevators. These things are dope. They let you just pop them down instantly. Pop up, down, up, down, up, down. It's crazy. My favorite. Today was a short one though. I mostly just went mining. Looked a little bit like this, but much slower as the human brain cannot operate quickly enough to play the game if this were the actual speed. So, yeah, fun fact. Day 35, I got some cacti, aka the plural of cactus, which if I remember correctly, I don't end up using for anything, ever. This is probably the last you'll see of these cactuses. Oh god, that would be very unpleasant. Behold, mission control from afar. It looks pretty stupid, but it's mine and I love it. I went to the nether with a few different goals, namely to connect to my old portal, collect glowstone, cobalt, quartz, and like everything else. I want to collect the world. Diamonds! Walked into lava like a straight doofus. This guy literally got on. Day 36, by the way. As I thought, this guy is a jerk. Thankfully, he's a pretty weak jerk. Best kind. The rest of the day was pretty chill. Looked up how to make a blast furnace. The thing that makes steel slowly. And then I went to heck and sleep. On day 37, my main goal was to get the blast furnace set up and running. Better go catch it. Which means I needed clay. I also needed blaze powder, but there's no way in I was about to rummage through the nether like a peasant. No offense to any peasants out there, you matter. So I threw together a centrifugal separator, which will let me convert magma cream into blaze powder. Like magic. From there, I combined my bricks and brick-like materials so I could get all bricked up with my new blast furnace. Basically, coal goes into the coke oven, comes out as coal coke, and then coal coke goes into the blast furnace, turning iron into steel. Sick! Not really, this method sucks ass. Perhaps more importantly than any of that, however, I made a table. And also a chair. So now I can sit my beautiful, voluptuous ass down and eat my meals like a civilized worm. Boxes. Containers. To put stuff inside. We call it storage. Well, I call it inefficient. On day 38, my quest to fix the storage problem began. A matter-to-energy, or ME system, would let me hold all of my items as data on a hard drive. Then I could search through that hard drive, pulling out exactly what I want, or even crafting what I want, without having to remove the items at all. It's so good, I could honestly bust a fat one just thinking about that shit. God. I'll spare you the finer details, but basically I needed like this, and 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 some other stuff. But by the end of the day, I was able to do this. All of those items are now stored as data and can be pulled out of the system and converted back to matter instantaneously. Incredible. I spent some time putting all of my belongings in the system, and that was day 38. Perhaps the biggest leap forward in technology I've had yet, and another item to mark off the checklist. Oh yeah, there's a checklist, by the way. Haha, just trust me. Check. Day 39. Remember this wall? It's called the machine wall. I call it that because it's a wall on which I plan to place many machines. I'm very good at naming things. Pause! In the process of editing this footage, I have just come to a realization. I am missing footage for days 40 to 49. I know not what happened to it, but it is not here. The good news is I didn't do a super huge crazy amount of stuff in that time anyways. The bad news is I can't show you any of it. But the follow-up good news to that is you'll end up spending less of your life watching this video. So that's a dub. Anyways, all you really missed is I set up an oil drill outside and started refining oil into rocket fuel. Worth noting, that's where we're going to pick up here at day 50. Things are kicking into space gear, okay? It's nearly rocket time. So buckle up with your big boy pants on that you were supposed to have put on like 20 days ago. Did you put them on? Yeah, I didn't think so, you jerk. Yo, day 50 and nothing weird has happened. This is totally normal and a natural transition from day 49, which you definitely just watched. Smile. Priority 1 was making a muffler block in the hopes of shutting up these last wind generators. That did not work, so I did the next natural thing. I moved them all really far away from the base. Then I ran a wire from them to the base, as you do. Now it looks a little something like this. In the meantime, I was refining oil into rocket fuel. It's that yellow piss-like substance that makes rockets go zoom. In the night, I mined. Using a hammer, I can very quickly make a 3x3 strip mine. The word strip refers to how the cave is mined out, but I also use it to mean being naked is okay in this cave. That's why it's called the strip mine. Somebody put their tree way down underground. Not sure why they did that. Trees don't like it underground. I was quickly starting to realize that despite being nearly ready for my first journey into space, I still needed a ton of ore. Why the do you have to do so much mining in a game called Minecraft? I like mining as much as the next naked person does, but honestly, tripling my ores seems like a pretty good idea, so that became my priority. With the mechanism mod, you can accomplish ore tripling with like 4 machines or so, ish. I already had most of them, so it was pretty chill. I knew you were chill like that. While all of this was happening, I was constantly creating steel and hammering out the many plates of metal that I needed for my rocket. Here's something exciting. The launch pad. Assembled and placed. It's starting to feel real now. Baby zombie literally off. Finally, I made this big NASA workbench. It's the workstation that rockets are actually crafted at. Ka-chow. Day 52 consisted of precisely 2 things. Muchos mining and muchos crafting. So there I was on day 53, mining as usual, when a gang of fellas decided they wanted to attempt murder. I don't recommend that, because they all failed. However, the last one was a real bona fide stinker. Someone gave him a bow with punch on it, so I was just getting thrown around like a rag doll in the teeth of a pit bull that's getting chased by a truck with a tornado siren on top of it while there's a tsunami approaching an orphanage filled with screaming, distressed children as the blood moon moves into position over the horizon and a meteorite begins its descent to the lower. It was pretty annoying. Remember that whole ore tripling thing I was talking about? Yeah, I worked on that too. Didn't finish it, but I worked on it. However, come the morning of day 54, I had ore tripling, and it was done, and therefore I did not need to do anything else to work on it. Or at least the very most simple version of it, where it wasn't actually even automated. I had to do it all by hand, but it was technically tripling ores, so I'm gonna count it. Basically, stuff goes into this thing, and then it goes into this thing from that thing, and then it goes into another thing from that one, and then this one. It's a whole thing, but then finally it gets smelted. All these machines were taking up even more power than my already juicy ass could provide, so I made a solar panel. It did not help. But more interestingly, I made a rocket. It's got 3 chests on it for maximum storage capacity. It's also heavy as a fat slimy dick. But thankfully, I'm literally ripped out of my mind. The next few days were all about balls. I mean, bubbles. Are bubbles considered balls? I mean, like they are, right? I mean, they're spherical, sphericular? That's not a word. Anyways, oxygen bubbles. If you don't have oxygen on the moon, that means that, you die. And since I didn't really want to do that, I needed to get myself an oxygen bubble. So days 55 to 59 were spent mostly doing that, which was kind of a lot because it's hard to collect oxygen. I don't know why. It's in the air and stuff. Perhaps more importantly than oxygen, on day 59, I made myself some very tasty treats. I'm gonna eat them later on when I'm hungry, and then I won't be hungry anymore. Yummy. I didn't want to get copyright struck, but I had to have this song, so I sung it myself. Enjoy. Ladies and gentlemen, that's right, we are flying to the moon. So there I was, barbecue sauce on my in space. I deployed the lander, and after a very brief period of darkness, I saw the moon. By some stroke of luck, I ended up directly next to a space village filled with little blue dudes. They were pretty chill. In true American fashion, I got way too comfortable, tore up their floor, and made their home into my home. I also had to turn off my shaders at this point because everything was looking really weird. Thankfully, I brought a lot of building supplies, so I was actually able to spruce the place up nicely. After 61 days of turmoil and battling slimes, I finally had a foothold on the moon. So I decided to immediately leave it and go back home. Imagine if I just ended the video right there. I had the moon in the palm of my hand, and it was time to use it. Like how I used to mold silly putty in my hand as a child. It felt really good and it was fun, but then we got all weird and didn't feel good anymore after you used it once for 10 minutes. Silly putty was kind of a product, for being honest here. I wanted to start a pretty major mining operation on the moon and refine the resulting minerals back home at Mission Control. So step 1, I fully automated my ore trip plane and I did a bit of mining. So that's actually 2 steps, but I already made that joke once this video, so that would be repetitive. I would need to replenish my dwindling ingot supply to accomplish my goals. Also, sorry about the screen stuttering that's been going on for the past few days. I recorded a little bit with the wrong settings, but I think it'll be fixed pretty soon here. I'm gonna try to use a lot of replay mod footage so that you don't have to see it, because my eyes are bleeding. A solar array would give me a bit more power, which I need for the trip plane. The more power, the better, with no exceptions. It's never ended poorly for anyone in history, ever. Somehow, the wind generators were still loud as f***, so I moved them way up into the air. Yet again, the sky was up to some shenanigans and doing some weird stuff. Flying a rocket back and forth to the moon constantly was simply not the vibe and whatnot. It's high time that I created some high-tier materials. I said high twice in one sentence. So I hopped back on the old Reddit-a-rooski and researched how portals work. Not sure why I have footage of me using Reddit, but I do, so here you go. Well, slap my ass again and call me Rebecca this time. I made a portal. It was actually easier than I expected it to be. Anyways, for the next 3 or so days, I did a whole of random stuff that wasn't interesting enough to show. But on day 69, nice, I made my second rocket. Now I could set up my second portal, but this one, unlike the first one, would be a portal on the moon, which makes it cooler. Very cool. Also, I ate some beans, which turned out to be absolutely not the move. It's day 70 and check it out.
Moon portal.
It does portal stuff. Now I can instantly go from the moon to Earth and back, which means getting the mining operation underway will be much easier. Check out that one time I accidentally made 36 buckets and used all of my iron at once. Love that. The good news is that basically everything I did from day 70 to 75 was a huge waste of time, and I ended up not doing anything with it. I was trying to figure out the best way to set up my moon mining operation, but this ain't it. It mostly revolved around collecting latex, which would be useful if I were trying to fit into a cat suit, but is much less useful in regards to making a massive hole. Or is it? Nah, not making that joke. Anyways, part of those time-wasting shenanigans I got up to was making this cool little stick that detects monster spawners. Again, not useful at all, but pretty neat on the scale of neatness. Something a lot more useful is all the uranium I was starting to refine. Nuclear reactor was up next on my list of priorities. Portals suck energy like I sucked the blood of my friend's snake wound, aka a lot. So this reactor would live in the moon base, and any leftover power it created, I would beam back home to Mission Control using a thing called a quantum entangleporter. What the f? Please observe how many diamonds I'm wasting by crushing them right now. Thankfully, I started streaming my progress around this point, and a very kind viewer would soon teach me something that changed my effing life.
Dude, if this is true and I've just wasted probably close to 40 diamonds by not doing that.
Oh, and it's probably true, isn't it? Why wouldn't it tell you that? Why would it not tell you?
All right, let's see. How much is it going to put in?
Oh my god. So basically, if you enrich a diamond before inserting it into the metal infuser, it gives you 8 times the amount of fuel. So in essence, I've wasted hundreds and hundreds of resources over the years of playing modded. Nice. Love that too. Shout out to Krzysztof for the tip. He's Polish. I'm sorry, man. I don't know why there were so many Polish people on my stream that day, but shout out Poland. You guys saved me so much time, you beautiful bastards. I had a brief moment of tragedy on day 82 when the portal shut off. To this day, I'm not really sure why this happened, but I had an extra rocket lying around, so I used it to run way back up and fix everything. This was also a fantastic opportunity for me to begin clearing out the room that would hold the nuclear reactor. Shout out hammers, they are very cool. It took a few tries, since I can at times be known as a silly little fella that don't do brain good, but I eventually did manage to construct my reactor. I wanted to see if it would explode, so I ran it with some dangerous settings. It didn't explode. Gotta be honest though, I definitely had already tested that in creative mode. I was not about to risk this on day 84. Threw a buttload of uranium in that bad boy, and suddenly power problems were a thing of the past. Here are the quantum entangleporters. What the f? At work. Nuclear piss. On day 85, I finally fixed my fucking OBS settings so that there were no more weird stuttering issues. I used my newfound freedom to start decorating the reactor room. Is a nuclear reactor really a nuclear reactor if the room it's in doesn't have have the right feng shui? Yeah, I didn't think so. But now it's a nuclear reactor because there are plants in the room. Yeah. After a few days of preparation and copious amounts of confusion, the moon was now officially a mining site. I had my whole digging machine up and running, digging the fattest freaking circular hole the moon has ever been done. Hold on. Then all the resources would get shot through the quantum entangleporter. What the and end up back at mission control. With 10 days left, my only real remaining priority was to make sure all those voluptuous moon resources got properly refined. So I started digging out and decorating what would become a refinery for all ores. It connects very nicely with mission control via a cute little bridge. You might recognize the bridge as also being the site of multiple rocket launches. It's a very sturdy bridge, apparently. Somewhere in the process of making the refinery, I realized the room is haunted when I heard this sound. Further investigation led me to this sound. But despite extensive digging efforts, I was unable to locate the demon. From there, I pretended the demon did not exist, and they will be making no further appearances in this video. Thank you. It took a bit of scientific trial and error, also known as regular trial and error, but I managed to get the ore tripling assembly line all shored up. It looks like this. Nice. I reactivated the miner on the moon, and sure enough, was getting entangleported. What the f? After 93 days and damn near 40 in-game hours, I had a nuclear reactor on the moon that was teleporting resources back down to my Earth base, where a fully automatic refinery would triple all the ore and make ingots out of them. In my mind, there were really only two things left to do. Wait for the miner to reach the center of the moon so I could investigate what secrets it might be hiding, and also, I wanted to build a little cabin on the moon, because that's just not really where cabins belong, and I thought it would tickle my little funny bone. Sue me. For one final time, the weather decided to screw with me, but this time I decided to screw back. As it turns out, the storm was stronger than me, and I was pushed against the wall like a twink. Thankfully, that's all that happened though, and I lived happily ever after. In my cabin. On the moon. Day 100. I spent it reflecting on all that I had built. From mission control, to matter energy storage, to oil refineries, to ore refineries. I had done a lot, and it had taken a long time. Both down on Earth and even up in space. You know, the whole thing where I say on the moon. Yeah, I'll say that here again. But at long last, I needed my answer. What was at the moon's core? So I took the plunge. Wait a minute. No, what are you talking about? What are you talking? It's just been cheese the whole time?